Alright, Daredevil Born Again has aired its last episode, so now I say it's time to talk about the whole season and its future. I really enjoyed this season. I think it is very well made. It is up there as probably the greatest MCU TV show. It's so good. But it does have its issues, and its issues are pretty extreme once you think about, like, this episode had, like, the show has super high highs, but then its, like, downsides are more infuriating due to the fact of how high quality the show is on, like, so many levels. And that's what makes the lows of the show a little harder hitting than the lows of other shows, because the highs of this show are, like, higher than most others. I think it's only slightly beat out by Loki in terms of highs and lows, but oh my goodness, like, when you're comparing yourself to that MCU TV show, I think you're in good hands, because that is, in my opinion, the undisputed champ, as it has just consistently great side characters as well, which is the real issue with Daredevil Born Again. It doesn't really take time to build its supporting cast like the original Netflix Daredevil did. It really relies a lot on the prior knowledge of these characters through the Netflix show. If you're not Kingpin or Daredevil, that is. Because those two shine every moment they get. The Punisher shines a lot in the very few moments he gets, but you're left thinking, is the Punisher shining because, like, you just already know so much about him, or did they give him the time to develop? And honestly, he shows up in 2 episodes, so clearly they don't give him the super time in this show, but you already knew of the Punisher and already what he does. And that's, like, just the biggest issue. You don't really care for the side characters. And meanwhile, in all of the Daredevil show, you had the whole season building up the villain as this super important character. And this is the main issue that I've had with Daredevil Born Again. Muse. He is severely underutilized. And I know, like I said, this is the spoilers video, so I'm going into full detail. The way Muse is treated, like, I liked how they snuck him in during those first few episodes of the season, but he just feels like a non-factor most of the time. I think they could have kept him around for longer. Like, there is no need to just have him show up in an episode and a half of total screen time just to kill him and make him the catalyst for this grand situation. Like, you didn't need it, because the Bullseye story makes so much more sense in the context of what they were building this whole season. Muse is literally a non-factor. You can remove him, and the events of the show will still play out the exact same way. And, like, some, like, minor things will change, obviously, but a good majority of it doesn't. And the fact that Bullseye, who only shows up in the first episode and then is left to the wayside until episode 8, has a bigger impact on the whole season than Muse, who was built up to be the main villain of the season, even though, let's be honest, probably was never supposed to be the main villain. But they built him up way more menacingly when Bullseye did way more. And I just don't like that, because what they showed of Muse in those first few episodes before that episode 7 catastrophe was really interesting and really good. I just wish that they probably kept finding more and more, like, subtle details and, like, hidden more clues to Muse, and then just left him as a background player the entire, like, show, and maybe kept him going until season 2, so that way there feels like more of a need for the vigilantes to come out other than just fighting this vigilante task force. I think if they had saved Muse for season 2 as well and just kept building him up throughout this season, it would have been better. And the other big issue is episode constraints. Like, I actually do think that this show needed more episodes. Because it's weird now looking back on it how often a lot of people complained about those long seasons, but now these seasons are getting way too short. Granted, I think that maybe just like one more episode could have like given more time to breathe for a lot of the characters and given them more development, but I don't know. I do think that they told an excellent story, but it did have a very, very big focus and was very tunnel visioned on certain characters getting the spotlight, and those certain characters always being Daredevil and Kingpin. But it's still a great show. I am super excited for the next season, as now it'll be just one development team, because another big issue is just how this first season was reshot to almost death, and honestly it doesn't matter because it produced this final episode, which is awesome, and it brought back John Bernthal because he was not coming back until they decided to move in this direction. And I do think the story is better for it, but it's like I said, they could have just saved the Muse stuff to probably play out a little longer so we could build him up a little bit more. But yeah, still think it's a great show. It is definitely second best MCU TV show because I am still holding Loki at number 1. But yeah, oh my god, it was fantastic. I cannot wait for season 2, which from what I believe and from what I've read is next year, and I'm very excited for it. But yeah, it's just a great show that really sets the groundwork for a better second season than this first season. I hope that they learned their lesson, especially since they got the creative team now from the original like Netflix era of these Marvel shows helming this new season, so it should be good and it should be more consistent the whole way through. I'm going to conclude this with just an episode's ranking because I feel like it's earned it, and so let's just go right through it. I definitely think best episode is episode 9, second best is episode 8. I do really like episode 6, but I don't know if I'll claim it third best because episode 5 is right there, so I'm going to put 5 and 6 there at tied. Episode 3, then episode 1, episode 2 I'm going to put a little lower just because, I don't know. Oh, I forgot about episode 4. My goodness, I almost skipped that one. Episode 4 will go up above episode 2 just because that Frank monologue was fantastic. But let's just be honest, best episode is episode 9, and the worst episode is episode 7. It is so easily the worst episode, because it is the most disappointing episode, in my opinion, and the other ones just didn't have anything that disappointed me as much. So, that's it. Best episode is episode 9, worst episode is episode 7. Everything else is just great in the middle, but that's pretty much all I have to say. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on Daredevil Born Again. If you've seen it, or now you're planning on seeing it. If you're planning on seeing it, sorry, you just watched this whole spoiler thing. I don't know why you would plan on seeing it now. But, still a great watch. I cannot wait for season 2, and I hope to see you all next year. Hopefully it's next year, for season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Until then, see ya.